Hi, my name is Fabian Ackermann, and I'm Product Specialist at SAP. And in this unit, I'd like to share with you the topic of project experience. So, let's get started. So first of all, what is the project experience? We can say that the project experience is an application that guides you through your implementation project. And by that, you avoid errors because the project experience actually recognizes dependencies between the different activities. You're basically guided through the implementation project, and you know, thanks to the experience, what you need to do first and what you need to do second, etc. So the project experience controls the sequence of the respective activities of the required steps for you. The key elements are the different project phases based on the SAP Activate methodology. So there's the explore phase, the realize phase, and the deploy phase. And within these phases, there are certain project activities that you can take care of. There's also milestones, and these milestones actually trigger the change of the project phase. So for example, if you're in the explore phase and you set the milestone explore phase finished, only then will you move to the next phase. And also the milestones make sure that project activities that are not active or relevant to a certain project phase are locked and cannot be accessed. What's more, the milestones also trigger and control background processes for you that are not business relevant, and that of course simplifies the user experience for you. Last but not least, there are configuration activities. The project experience provides access to detailed configuration settings, and these configuration activities are also grouped by business area. So for example, configuration activities related to manufacturing would be put into one group, and activities related to sales and services, for example, would be put into another group for a better overview. So on this slide, I'd like to show you the project experience, what it actually looks like. So if you take a look at the screenshot in the top left section of the screen, you'll see the main screen of the project experience that where we're also going to take a closer look in the following. But for now, let's also see that the project experience is actually a gateway to different apps and functionalities, like the scoping experience, the scoping card, the organizational structure app, and configuration. So it's a gateway to all of those where you're going to be redirected to the right applications from within the project experience. And at this point, I'd like to show you a demo. So let me switch to my demo real quick. All right, so on this screen, again, this is the main screen of the project experience. And what you can see in the top right section of the screen are the phases and milestones. So here we have the explore phase, the realize phase, and the deploy phase together with the relevant milestones. So you can see here there are two green icons. If I hover over with my mouse cursor over one of those, then it tells me that the milestone scoping finished has already been set. So green means it's already completed, whereas red means it still has to be done. We have 4 milestones in total. So for example, as I just mentioned, the scoping finish milestone, we also have the explore phase finish milestone. Then if I hover over the red icon here with my mouse, we can see that the realize phase finish milestone hasn't been completed yet, since we're right now in the realize phase and we still have other activities to do. So that's what the red icon tells me here. And of course, we also have the deploy phase finish milestone. What's more, on the screen at the bottom, you can see the legend that explains you all of the icons. So we just talked about milestones, but there is also an icon for project activities. Those are activities that you have to take care of, and they're based on the SAP Activate methodology known from the SAP Roadmap Viewer. There's also configuration activities where you have to carry out certain configurations. Those have a different icon. And again, there's color coding, so red means open, blue in progress, and green means completed. All right, what else? So in the center of the screen, you will see that all of the activities that you have to do in a certain phase are listed. We have an open section, an in progress section, and a completed section. And depending on what the status is of the relevant activity, those will be displayed in those sections. So, for example, right now we are in the explore phase, as you can see, as you can tell from the filter in the top left section of the screen. So we're right now in the explore phase. That's why all of the activities are displayed in the completed section. But if we expand this drop-down list and select realize, you'll see that now there are lots of activities displayed in the open section, and that's because, as you can tell from the top right part of the screen, we're still in the realize phase. That's why the realize phase is highlighted in dark blue. That's the phase we're currently in. And that's why all of the activities are still open, because we haven't worked on that yet. Something I'd like to show you here is if we take request production system as an example. So if I click that project activity, then there is a dialog box that opens. It gives you further details about the activity, and you can also set the status here. So usually I would go ahead and set the status from open to in progress. And then I close the dialog box, and you'll see that the request production system activity has been moved to the in progress section. Likewise, if I set the status to completed by doing the same thing and closing the dialog box, then you'll see it will move to the completed section. So this is a big advantage of the project experience, of course, because by setting the status and by having the different sections displayed like this on the screen, you'll always have a good overview of which activities still have to be carried out and which have already been completed. Furthermore, if you take a look at the filters at the top, you can also filter for configuration activities that are mandatory or optional. And you can also filter by status. And furthermore, you can also use the search bar to filter the configuration activities. So let me enter payment here as an example and search. And then you'll see that the long list of configuration activities has been greatly reduced. And this should also come in handy for you. Here, let's take configure financial operations as an example. So let me expand this group, because as you can see here, it's expandable. We have 14 activities here that we have to carry out. If I expand this, and let me scroll down to the bottom for a sec, then I'd also like to take define terms of payment as an example. If I click here on this activity, again, there's a dialog box opening that gives you more information on this activity. And, as usual, I would go ahead and choose in progress. And now, of course, the project experience is not only for setting statuses, but of course, I can also execute the activities. So if I choose execute here, it will redirect me to the right configuration screen where I would have to make the configurations. Once I'm done with this, I would go back and choose close to get back to the project experience. Here I would select complete from the drop-down list, and I would be done, closing the dialog box. And now you can see that the configuration activity now has a green icon, which means that it has been completed. That's why you also get a number here at the top, because it's part of a group of configuration activities. You get the info here, okay, 1 has been completed, the other 13 still have to be done. And once all of these activities that are part of this group have been completed, they will of course move to the completed section. But since there are other configuration activities that are still, that have yet to be completed, this will stay as is, and just, there will just be numbers giving you info on the status. Okay, so far so good. Now I'd like to switch back to my presentation. And I would also like to show you the Home tab that you can see on this slide here. So the Home tab gives you a good overview of all of the activities and their statuses. So you get at a glance, you can see which activities are still open, which are in progress, which are completed. So that should definitely be helpful. What's more, on the next slide, we'll see the Teams tab. The Teams tab provides you an overview of project team members and their specific project roles. Also at a glance, that should also be helpful. And of course, we also have the Systems tab that provides an overview of the involved systems and their status of provisioning. But it also allows the requesting of system provisioning, as well as the capability to release configuration settings to the productive environment. Last but not least, we have the the History tab, where you get a change history of project activities and milestones, and it's also possible to download this as a CSV file if you need to. And with this, I've come to the end of this unit. Maybe let me quickly summarize the points that we've learned in this unit. So we've seen how the project experience guides you through your implementation project, and is also a gateway to other apps and functionalities. We've also learned about its key elements, which are the project phases, the project activities, the milestones, and the configuration activities. And last but not least, we've learned how to set the status and execute an activity or a milestone, and how to switch between project phases. And with this, thank you for your attention. And in Unit 5, you will meet Steffen Wolf, who will tell you about the scoping experience. Thank you.